From Atlanta today, this via Jeremy Fowler, who says the Falcons plan to franchise tag tight end Kyle Pitts, a source confirmed. This was the expectation league-wide. Now Atlanta locks it in. Mina, you like this decision by the Falcons to franchise tag Kyle Pitts?
I think it makes sense. Start with the cost of the tag, about $15 million. That's not a lot. I mean, that's like the 25th highest paid receiver for comparison's sake. So just from a position standpoint, tagging him as they, I imagine, try to work out a long-term deal, it does make sense. And I'll say this about Kyle Pitts. I feel like because he started out so strong in his career and then had some downs relative from a production standpoint, obviously red zone being most notable, it was almost slept on last year that he had the second most yards of any tight end in football behind McBride. You really saw when Drake London was out, his emergence as the number one option at times for Atlanta. He has unique field stretching ability for a tight end. I think he's improved also in pass protection. So I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta does try to get a deal done. And it makes sense to me from a coaching perspective, too, with Kevin Stefanski coming in.
Yeah, completely agree. Look, in terms of just talent, I mean, and he still has the talent that, you know, is why he was drafted where he was drafted. I mean, to your point, strong start and then kind of fell off the map and disappeared from a production standpoint, and then kind of had a better season a year ago. I think some of that was the quarterback play a year ago was slightly better than it had been during the dip in production. So I do think that when people look at Kyle Pitts and understand the unique ability in terms of his size and athleticism, catch radius, all of that stuff, that they're going to look at it and say, you know what, we could get more out of him, or we should be getting more out of him, which is exactly what Kevin Stefanski is going to be thinking about, you know, the tight end. So, and then you reference the money. Look, it's exactly why, you know, you go back and, you know, years ago, Jimmy Graham wanted to be, you know, considered a wide receiver because he played detached rather than as an inline tight end. Look, Kyle Pitts is most dangerous when he's detached from the formation. So comparing him to high-paid wide receivers does make sense from the standpoint of it's pretty much a bargain at $15 million on a one-year deal.
Matt, let's spin this to the draft. As now there will be one less free agent tight end available. Who are some of the tight ends that you think are rising as we get through this process over the next couple of months?
Yeah, I think we have one first-round wide receiver, and that's Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon, who is he's an athletic freak. He's 6'3", 245 pounds. I won't be surprised if he is the best performer this week at the scouting combine. He should jump over 41 inches. Bench press is going to be through the roof. His agility shows up on tape, but it's that ability in the red area that really separated him. Now, there are some drop concerns. That's going to pop up as we talk about him more over the next 2 months, but he is the best tight end prospect in this class from a move tight end perspective. He gets great effort in the run game as a blocker as well. So he is one of those players that now could benefit with one less tight end available on the market.
And it is a super deep draft class at tight end, Matt. As you know, there's not many top-heavy players, but this year, day 3 is going to have some legit players at that position. Just getting started here on NFL Live, as much as the Cowboys agreed to a 3-year deal with soon-to-be free agent running back Javonte Williams, a 25-year-old set career highs in carries, rushing yards, and touchdowns in his first year with the Cowboys. That $24 million deal includes $16 million in guaranteed money. New on NFL Live with Javonte Williams agreed to, more eyes in Dallas turn to George Pickens and the potential franchise tag. Stephen Jones was asked about that in Indianapolis today.
Let's just take time. I mean, we want Pickens here. Think the world of him. Want him here, love him, and I think he wants to be here. So all that's a plus.
All right, so Tim, it sounds like a franchise tag is coming for George Pickens in Dallas. Is this a smart move, or does it risk complicating Pickens' future with the team? Because the Cowboys definitely have a history with franchise tag players.
Yeah. I think this one makes sense. I think you could go back in time, Field, and say, you know, what they did with Dak Prescott didn't make sense. Obviously, the Parsons thing didn't work out. Ezekiel Elliott at times, things drug on with CeeDee Lamb. I think this one makes sense for Pickens. They've got a lot of money tied up in the CeeDee Lamb contract. Signing Pickens to a contract that he most likely would want to sign would eat up so much of the salary cap for Dallas that I do think 1 year, $28 million, say, hey, man, you've only done it for 1 year. year. We've only had you in Dallas 1 year. Let's go have a better year than you had this past year. And then you have an opportunity to hit free agency. Potentially you re-sign with Dallas, although that would be unlikely. And I think if he goes and has another career year, he probably could end up having a case to hit the open market and become the highest paid receiver in the game. So, I think as long as Pickens is okay with betting on himself, I do think that this is the right move for the team. And quite frankly, I think it'll be the better move for the player.
It was quite a coup last year for Dallas to acquire Pickens for the cost that it did. He recorded a career high in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns last season. Let's go to Baltimore, as Tyler Linderbaum likely won't be tagged by the Ravens, so the two sides could work out a deal for the 25-year-old center. They drafted Linderbaum with their first pick all the way back in 2022. Baltimore GM Eric DeCosta was asked about Linderbaum's future last week, saying the following, quote, "We got some work to do on Tyler Linderbaum's contract. He's a free agent. We strongly hope to have him back. He's a great player for us and a great leader. And then we got to I think, augment the guard position, which is something that we can do. We've got some good young guys that we really believe in this year that are going to make a big, big jump this year for us." That comes via the Inner Circle podcast, by the way. The Ravens, after Linderbaum, the Ravens' other top free agents include tight end Isaiah Likely, starting guard Daniel Falele, Pro Bowl fullback Patrick Ricard, and veterans DeAndre Hopkins and Kyle Van Noy. Baltimore also has a decision to make on Lamar Jackson, whose current salary cap number is $74.5 million. The decision, by the way, is do we renegotiate the deal or do we extend the deal? $74.5 million is a lot of money to have for just one player, Mina. But so many decisions for them to make this offseason. But let's start with Tyler Linderbaum. How important is it for Baltimore to find middle ground with their all-pro center?
This is tricky. Because on one hand, obviously, they should try to keep Tyler Linderbaum, right? He's not only one of the best run-blocking centers in the league, he's a perfect fit for what they want to do. What their new offensive coordinator coming from Chicago, Declan Doyle, wants to do, that outside zone run game. He is also a bit stronger as a run blocker than a pass protector, so he makes perfect sense for Baltimore, which is always going to be a bit of a run-heavy offense. The problem, of course, is that he is an actual free agent and that there's many other teams that will probably want to sign Tyler Linderbaum. Teams that also have a lot of money, including Field, we talked about this, the Raiders. Clint Kubiak runs a similar offense. They need a center. That would be a dream for a young quarterback. So while I imagine Baltimore will try to keep him, I do think it's possible that because of the market for him being so strong, he could be priced out for them.
Matt, when you look at this Ravens roster, which position do they need to prioritize, center included or excluded, in this draft?
Yeah, guys, I feel like I've been saying this every offseason for 5 years or more now. They need to get a big-bodied wide receiver for Lamar Jackson. They need someone that can win over the top, someone that can win the 50-50 balls. They have a great player in Zay Flowers, but he's undersized. That shows up at times. I want to expand the strike zone for Lamar Jackson by giving him someone that can win in these areas. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State would be a fantastic player for them in the middle of the first round if he happens to be there. There are some injury questions over the last 2 years for him. In 2024, there were some drop issues that seemed to be eliminated this year. He had a great season before missing some time with the injury. But Jordan Tyson, if he's there in the middle of round one, I think that's a no-brainer to give them the type of player that they've long needed, and they've tried to add veterans to be that player. Drafting one, getting cheaper when you're paying your quarterback $75 million a year, always a good way to do things. But this is how the Ravens used to build instead of trying to plug holes through free agency and trades. I think Jordan Tyson would be the ideal prospect for them here.
And just a reminder, the Ravens are scheduled to pick at number 14 overall. We now move to tragic news in the NFL over the weekend as wide receiver Rondale Moore died Saturday at the age of 25. Police in his hometown of New Albany, Indiana, told the Associated Press that Moore was found with a suspected self-inflicted gunshot wound. Moore missed last season for the Vikings because of a knee injury he suffered in the preseason. Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell said he was devastated by the news of Moore's death, adding, quote, "We are all heartbroken by the fact that he won't continue to live out his NFL dream." None too subtle reminder to check in on your people. You just never know what people are going through. Rondale Moore, gone far too soon at the age of just 25. More NFL Live after this.